Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
And blessings, love, and light. And welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, health and wellness awareness coach, and author and founder of Redefining You, LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And welcome to another episode of the How Now podcast. If you are new to the How Now podcast, welcome in. We're happy that you are here and that you have found us safe and sound. So please go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com, and be sure to pick your favorite podcast platform and be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. You can also go to the website, and at the bottom of the page, you'll see a banner for this week's show. Click on that banner and it will take you to the How Now YouTube channel where you can like, follow, share, and subscribe there as well. And make sure you click that notification button so that you know what is happening in the now. Again, that is www.hownowpodcast.com. Okay, so we're in season 3. Like I said, we're halfway through season 3 of the How Now podcast. And tonight we are going to be talking about pain. Okay, there are many, many people who are living with pain. That it has become a way of life for them. And especially as we are getting older, especially if you are a Gen X like myself, you wake up and you wiggle your toes and feet, make sure that everything is functioning before you step out of that bed because you don't want your feet to come out from under you because that's even more pain. So we are going to talk tonight about the wise way and talking about wellness and simplifying wellness so that way we can be happier, healthier human beings. And to help me to go through the weeds of pain and talk about wellness is my lovely guest. And as is customary with the How Now podcast, let's get that right. I'm going to have my guest to introduce herself at this time.
Yay! Oh, this is the big why. Every coach tells you to use your big why. Mine is arms or energy if you can't lift your arms up to the sky. I am Wendy S. Wiseman, founder of Happier, Healthier Humans Community Collective. I am a health catalyst movement health coach, pain relief specialist. Yes, helping taming the tensions of modern living and simplifying healthy happiness so that we can live with less effort, enjoying less pain and more energy for life. The wise way.
The wise way. I love it. Look, I'm going to do my why like this, okay? Because I need to.
Uplifting yourself, unwinding the downer desks and devices that we do all day long.
Wonderful.
Very good. Opening, expanding, allowing.
Yes. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being with us today and for talking about taming our tension. And I want to say a lot of that tension and that stress tends to come from, it comes from stress. I think, you never realize until you go to relax or till someone tells you to relax how much you're holding your body together. And then it's like, okay, relax your face. All of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I was, that I was furrowing my brows. I didn't realize that I was clenching my hands. So much tension in our bodies.
Absolutely.
Taming your tension. So before we dive into that whole idea of the wise way and how we got into this space, tell me a little bit about your background, what you were doing, prior, everything, for the How Now podcast starts with what was going on prior to the pandemic. Were you doing this type of work then?
Kind of and kind of, yes. But not exactly the same. There's, of course, always a journey of winding roads and whatnot. I had I'm also Gen X. And when I was in my 40s, I was falling apart. And I made the decision that I would become happier and healthier every year up to and after 50 and into the future. I'm now 55 and well on my way, as you can see, with my energy and enthusiasm.
Yeah,
And yay, yay every day. So as a body worker, I had already begun transitioning to the online space for my future dream life. So the lockdown brought me to work with some coaches in unwise choices
yes.
that were intended to move me forward. But, you know, we can do things with the best of intention and they don't always work out the way we would like.
Right.
So
Right.
so the journey hasn't been quite as smooth as anticipated, but when is it really?
It never is. We always think that that we're going to get to that point of oh, when I get right here, or when it gets perfect,
Yeah.
you'll be disappointed.
So then in addition to the lockdown and, you know, the isolation stuff, my mother was battling cancer. And she had what she called her encore year, which was wonderful. She got to travel more. We had more time together, but I lost her. And then the following fall, I lost my father to COVID. But both of them were like releases from the struggles they were going through. And yet, you know, it's left to those of us that are still here to struggle with dealing with, even when it's a blessing that they're relieved and it's quick and it's rather, you know, better than it could be. It's still challenging and it affects you. Grief rolls through you in very strange, unexpected ways. And it's a process and a journey unlike any other. And there's a lot of it in the world today. And it's very related to pain. I mean, you can get physical pains from emotional trauma and grief. So, you know, that leads us into the conversation about pain because pain is many different things and it's individual to different people and it changes in, you know, different life cycles and we're ever changing dynamic beings. So
yes. And so as the pandemic hit and you know, and you started to, you know, work with your clients, were you seeing a lot of that of the manifestation of that tension of that stresses of those stresses as a result of the pandemic?
Well, I had two phases of it because I could still do some medical massage. I kind of have two branches to my business. I still do hands-on personal manual therapies, and also the online coaching kind of helped bridge that gap for a couple of people. There was a whiplash client that I worked with at the chiropractor who then was unable to see me or chose not to come in, even though we could do medical massage. And then she ended up going to the doctor and getting pills because she was losing use of her hands because of the nerve blockage and the tension that chokes that down. But then she remembered, oh, Wendy was incredible. So she got one of my 4-session packages, and we were able to unwind the tensions, which were part of the lockdown for her and part the whiplash and the fact that we weren't able to continue the hands-on therapy. So we were able to get rapid results because I had been working with her hands-on. Now, another person decided to do coaching with me because he wasn't able to participate in hockey or other activities that he had been doing, and he needed help getting back on track with basic healthy habits that were disrupted by the whole lockdown and COVID wild ride that we're still on the tail end of. It's not over, folks.
Exactly. But I mean, it's amazing the connection. You know, sometimes you don't think about it. Sometimes you think, okay, I have pain. Where is this pain rooted? You know, where is it? You know, and why is it manifesting in the way that it's manifesting? You know, you hear about a lot of people who have chronic pain that's in their neck and in their back, especially when you talk about, it's like you said, we're Gen Xers. You know, somebody's always my neck, my back. You know, back in the
my
day,
Netflix and my snacks.
right. My sacroiliac. You know, all of that. You know,
my sky attic.
Right, right. Every nerve possible we could think of. And some of it comes, like you said, from tension. Some of it is emotional. Some of it is our career choices. A lot of it is sitting in front of these computers.
Yeah.
So
Desks and devices, but a lot of it is also perpetuated by the medical professionals that are pushing pills and procedures. Oh, you're just getting older. Oh, there's some arthritis there. And there's this whole fear thing with imaging and the way the communication gaps between,
yes.
I mean, modern medicine is miraculous and wonderful and has great purposes, but like anything else with human communication and assumptions and fear and stuff, it can get skewed.
Yes.
And actually become detrimental.
Yes.
And that's what was happening with her, that client, and the pills to get use of her hands, when what she needed was movement as massage and just those reminders to move.
Yes.
Because we get still. I tell people, would you rather be the poisoned stagnant puddle or the fresh bubbling spring?
Right.
Because that's what is meant when they say sitting is the new smoking. It's not sitting, it's stagnation, it's lack of movement.
Yes.
Because movement is required for life. Beyond respiration and circulation, it's cellular.
Right.
We aren't a bag of parts that this happens to.
Right.
This is an adaptation of the information that we've fed into our body being throughout the years.
Yeah.
It doesn't just suddenly happen. Yeah, if you fall and break something, that suddenly happens. But the rest of this is the body attempting to adapt to the input it has been receiving.
Right.
Is that from being down over desks and devices? Is that from guarding our heart in fear and grief or shame or whatever the different emotional psychosomatic patterns that come about? Is it guarding that's locked in from some trauma like whiplash decades ago that was never addressed? Pain is a signal. Sometimes it's just something's remodeling and getting better, but it hurts. Growing pains or scar tissue realigning, there's that discomfort.
Yes.
So it's unwinding the pain puzzle.
Yes.
is in and of itself attention to be tamed.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and you make two valid points. First of all, I mean, I had to write down sitting is the new smoking. I'm just like, that just blew my mind right there, because it is, it's funny. We have technology that tells us, I have a watch that says, time to move, make sure that you move, as a reminder for us to move our bodies, because yes, we can get stagnant. We can sit for hours on end and not move, and we're doing our bodies a disservice. And then another point that you made that's so important is, like you said, when you talk about medication, if we're masking the pain, how can we address it? Because we don't know to what level that pain is if we're masking it with medication. So we don't know if it's getting worse, if it's getting better. If pain is a signal to our body that something is going on. And if we ignore that and we ignore those signals, it can lead to even, more pain.
So here's another one for you. Listen to the whisper before it becomes a scream. And this is why, if you watch my lives every day, Taming Your Tension Today, short little sessions, and almost everyone I talk about tuning in with the 3 keys that make it so simple. You can do it fast, all 3 at once: breathe, smile, and joy, right? But this is a way to tune in, to refresh, to reset, to take a break. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth stimulates the relaxation response, okay? You can take your time doing that, and it uplifts your cells. Smiling releases the good endorphins. So even if you're feeling, once I was driving a bus because I was too depressed to do hands-on work with people. In 2016, part of my journey of being overweight and depressed and falling apart, that launched me into the decision to make the change and now to spread that change for others, simplifying it, to wade through all of the mixed signals and messages. But it took me 9 times or something to smile, because I knew that if I could just make myself smile, that I would feel better. And it hurt, literally hurt. But I did it. And then not only did I feel better because I got the endorphin release, but I accomplished, I did it.
Right.
You know, I fought my way through that battle.
Yeah.
And it was just a smile.
Yeah.
But it was major. Some
Yeah.
days getting out of bed is major.
Yes.
So yes, smiling. And the third key is enjoy. You'll see me write it with a hyphen, enjoy. Generate that joy. And you can learn how powerful that can be. You can use thoughts of memories that, like ice cream or whatever it is you love, a place you love, a memory you love, a person you love here or past, a pet that you love, silly cat videos, whatever it is that brings you, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it on my skin right now, that generates that joy and that energy. Yeah. And that's how we create a better world as happier, healthier humans. When we become that happier, healthier within and generate that, radiate that love, generate that joy, and hopefully spread kindness like confetti as well.
Yes, that's it. You know, like you said,
that moves and ripples.
It does. We're energetic beings, I believe. You know, so anytime we exude that, you know, people will say that, you know, you and I are energetic people. So I know our energy is popping all over the screen as we're talking now, because we are energetic beings. And just like you said, when that joy, when those endorphins, when that excitement comes up, it's contagious. People can just like people catch diseases, people can catch kindness, people can catch happiness. You can catch a little bit of that joy sometimes off of other people, you know, just by the energy that they radiate, the aura that's around them. There's so much that's inside of us that, you know, when pain takes over, that, you know, it cripples us. It's like kryptonite for a person like myself who was, you know, doing, you know, here in you know, when we were on lockdown. I'm very much a tactile person.
I was just going to say.
Kryptonite. It was like kryptonite. And I was like, I can't hug anybody. I was like, you know, it was hard.
No, that was a blessing for me because I was able to do medical massage. So I had hands-on human-to-human contact, which was a lifesaver. I mean, and some of the people's backs, you know, aside from being at their kitchen table, not good ergonomics, right? And they're or on the couch or in the bed, and all these bad ways of using your body to work, and just binging Netflix and being in the house. Do you know that podiatrists were seeing huge numbers of foot problems because people were suddenly freeing their feet from the coffins that shoes are, but their feet don't have the strength to be barefoot all the time anymore because you have to train them. So podiatrists saw huge spikes in foot problems from being barefoot during lockdown. I mean, there's so many different weird undercurrents and things that have been tossed awry by this experience that we've had.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of remote vibrational healing, like we were just talking about, because we are bioelectric, energetic beings, and everything has a vibration. You know, even these tables that seem to still have an electrical vibration.
Right.
And that's why together, you know, people have been sending out the healing energy, and we've seen some miracle recoveries and things from people, because there is this vibrational shift in this awareness shift, in this shift in consciousness, even as these horrible divisions are being created by these devices and divisiveness of those designing them to isolate and to segregate and to create hate. We're breaking through that.
That's right.
In huge ways.
So, I love that. I mean, I mean, it makes sense. Just like you said, energy. You know, I think about that. You know, I'm a Reiki master. I think about things like that because there's energy that is sent. So there are so many ways in which we can address pain. There's so many ways in which we can address things that are going on within our bodies. So I definitely want to talk about the wise way. You know, it's not by accident that your last name is Wiseman. So, you know, and it's the wise way. So let's start talking about the wise way and how people can go about either recognizing or getting to a space where they can start, you know, on that path to wellness. We're all on a different journey and at different stages in that journey. And some people are just like, I don't even know where to start. All I just know is I hurt.
And I turned it into the Wise Way wheel, because we go round and round and round, because we're different all the time and we have to come back through these things. And each time we do, it's a richer new experience. But the Wise Way came from my love of playing with words, alliteration and acronyms, and things like that. Yay, the big Y stands for you activating yourself.
Yes.
You, awesome you, or any number of other things. Wise Choices was my first course that will be published as a book, hopefully out the door in 2024. Woo! Wise Choices. And wise choices for simplifying healthy happiness. Wise move, wise meal, wise mind, wise maintenance, that is now becoming wise meld, because I found the 4-letter word.
Uh-huh.
And that stands for wellness, integration, solution, essentials, which is just, a long way of saying the basics, right?
Yes.
The foundations. And that gave birth to the formula, the simple formula, which is the foundations of move, meal, and mind.
Yes.
If you've got the move and the meal good, but your mind is all negative and rotten and you're stressed, you're not going to be healthy. If you've got the move and the mind good, but your meal is crappy, well, the gut, brain, the things are going to really get wrecked, right? And a lot of fit pros, multi-million-dollar fit pros, have come out about this, how they were fit and making the money and motivating the people, and they were falling apart, right? The stories are coming out.
Oh, yes.
So it's important to have those foundations. There's folks that will go do a keto diet and high intensity exercise and burn up and eat their muscles. So you have to be wise about all of these fitness fads and choices and things.
Yeah.
And you have to start with the foundations of moving your body before you exercise and deteriorate your joints.
Right.
Of eating clean food before you do deprivation diets or this fad or whatever. It's got to be real food. Eating keto with a bunch of fake processed fats isn't a healthy diet. But some people are like, oh, I can eat all the fat I want. It's like, no, that's not,
Right.
And positivity and mindfulness, just tuning in to how am I now? How now, right? Yeah. So, and those are the foundations.
Yeah.
The pillar phases are attention, which is directed awareness. Awareness is the key to unlocking change. If you're not aware, you can't create change because you don't know there's a need there. Yeah. But with attention, we start moving forward into activation, is like the ignition that starts the car. And you can be moving forward, but then you've got to navigate. Adaptation is the third, because how do we make it fit our crazy, busy, hectic schedules and modern living, right? And the obstacles that come and holidays and this, that, and the other.
Right.
You got to learn how to surf the waves and not beat yourself up, and be able to just keep going with that joyful being. It's like, okay, I did a little emotional eating earlier this week, and now my joints hurt a little bit because it was a little more dairy than usual, but I didn't beat myself up about it, and I didn't keep going on that path either.
Right. And that's the thing, like you said, listening to your body. Yeah.
Learning these things. And the more you get free from the negative influences and things, the easier it is to nurture yourself, because you have more sense. And the more you tune in, this is why everything at the Happier, Healthier Humans Community Collective and about taming your tension strives to be anywhere, anybody, anytime. So I have doTERRA products, I have other products that I use and I love, but this is all about working with what you have, where you are, when you need it.
Yes.
And that's why those 3 keys are so powerful. And that's why the foundations are so, because it's good no matter where you're eating at the family thing, you learn how to make better choices that support your healthy happiness.
Yes.
And how to ride the waves without needing the crutches, without having to put your shoes on or take them off or change your clothes or go to a certain place or have a certain thing. Right. Simplifying, cutting through all of the noise, because we've all got too much of it and they keep spitting it at us. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Tuning in tuning in. Now, vitamin G is a big one.
Vitamin G.
That is the earth. Reconnecting to the earth. That means you're not going to take your shoes off and be barefoot on the ground. Put your hands on the ground or a living tree. There is actual benefit to being a tree hugger, y'all. Yes, I'm in California. But standing on a wood deck does not count because that is not living wood.
Right.
So back to the bioenergetic being, you know, we have disconnected ourselves and put so much static in the way. Turning this off, getting away from your bed when you're sleeping. There are all kinds of these little healthy habit helper hacks that can make profound differences in your life and your quality of living. And that's what wise choices and the wise way for the wise life is all about. Just simplifying these tiny little choices. People are like, oh, do this exercise. Well, okay, if you go to the gym, that's great. What are you doing for the other 12, 14, or 16 hours of the day?
Right.
You know? So you're training yourself and your body being every minute of every day with these little choices. If you want to integrate a healthier habit, you know, what can you hook it to that makes it easier for you to do? I often recommend to clients to add a certain, you know, movement or check-in activity to going to the bathroom, because we all go to the bathroom frequently, hopefully. And if we're not, we better be drinking some more water.
Exactly. Water. Yes.
So just simplifying, because we silly humans tend to overcomplicate things, and we're also stress hoarders, right? We stress. Dogs do zoomies. Animals shake it off, right? Soft creatures kick it after they escape the lion or whatever. They kick it out, let it go. So shake it off from time to time. Don't be a silly stress hoarder, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we do.
What you started talking about with the tension and how it accumulates, when I resumed my mindfulness practice, I was blown away, and I still am today, by the amount of tension in the eye sockets. These tiny little things, once you start soothing, it's the same with body work. Once you get through the big boulders of the where Atlas held the weight of the world, you know, then you start to feel the individual strands, and then you get to the meshed up netty, not, you know, underneath the layers that are stuck together and aren't well aligned anymore. And people are like, oh, this is a knot. I'm such a mess. Well, if you're thinking you're such a mess, guess what you're going to be? If you think you're full of knots, guess what you're going to be? So I tend to talk about muscle puzzles and tension patterns and accumulations and load and stress. Stress and tension are required for life, just like movement, you know, but it's the way we stress, the way we move or don't move, the way we think or don't think.
Right. I think about strength training and all of that.
You might be doing the right things, but just not the right way. Like the static stretching, if you change the angle, it might have the impact you're looking for. But if you're just pulling, and the brain's not learning anything, that's why you're not getting the results you're after. So it's good to have helping hands for accountability, for support, for guidance. That's why there are so many coaches. And that's why I'm putting together a collective of coaches, many of whom do the same things I do. With a different way that might resonate with you better. And because we're all coming together to help one another, and we all love to celebrate our wins too.
Yes, we do. And I think, you know, it's important. Like you said, I think what happens is we either get into this space of analysis paralysis, or there's just so much information that we get so bogged down. It's like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start. And just like you said, it starts with simplicity. It starts with awareness. You know, if I'm constantly, you know, one signal may be that, why am I waking up every morning with Tylenol, or I'm waking up every morning with Advil, or you know, some type of ibuprofen? Why am I waking up with pain medications before I even put my feet on the floor? There's something wrong. That there are signals that our body gives us that something is wrong, or that we're doing something wrong, and we need to start looking into that. Right?
Well, a common one is that waking up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning with a pain. which isn't always bad. And it's important to go, oh my God, what's wrong with me? No, no, no. To say, what is this trying to tell me? Because a lot of times that's when the cleaning crews are coming in and cleaning up the mess. So that's sometimes a good pay. Now, if it's going on night after night after night after night, that's something to address. But it's all about becoming curious.
Yes.
I boiled my core values down to 3, because 3 is the magic number, and here we are, season 3, right? So
That's right.
Curiosity,
Yeah.
creativity, and caring. Those are kind of umbrellas. You can find those in the featured section on my LinkedIn too, but they kind of umbrella a lot of the other things. Caring, has you have to have compassion for self and others, and self-caring and caring about what you're doing and commitment and whatnot. But curiosity and asking, how now?
Right. Right.
Awareness and like, what is this? What?
Right.
Interesting. Right. Instead of going, oh my God, how about interesting? Wow, look at that.
Right. And why is it doing that? And what is my body doing when it's doing that? And just like you said, it's so important that we have that childlike mentality and that why and that curiosity of, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, all right. I know that this hurt, but why does it hurt? I didn't really do it, especially if you didn't physically do something or it was indirect. And you're just like, okay, where'd that come from? And be curious enough to ask. And there are so many people who I think are fearful of going to the doctor or of asking questions. And so they're just kind of like, no, I'm not going to go because it's going to cost me too much. And sometimes, it's important that we have that shift in mind and have that curiosity to say, okay, something is wrong or something is different. Let me research this. We live in an age of technology. All we have to do is Google or Siri or Alexa and just find out something, even if it's just to scratch the surface, so that even when we go to somebody, we have the vocabulary.
Informed choices.
Yes.
It's important from both of those things. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor, but don't go to the doctor and buy everything the doctor has to say either. Listen to your innate wisdom. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Look at who paid for the studies, right? Was it paid for by the Dairy Council saying, no, it doesn't create inflammation? You might want to, look somewhere else, look a little deeper.
Right.
Look beyond
like
the big
said,
dollars.
Yeah,
it's all about listening to your innate wisdom.
Yes.
While also collecting information.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, that is so critical and so key in us being able to, to be successful and creating a path of wellness for ourselves. We want to get to that space of feeling well and of feeling that we're in control of our bodies. And that's not always a feeling that we have. We're kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and so we tend to become fearful, and then that just creates more stress, which
That's a big one, because we become, it's like, oh, and unfortunately, you'll do this and you'll stop moving, and that's about the worst thing you can do, because it'll congeal and hold and guard.
Yes.
And that's a lot of the coaching I do as a movement health coach, is coaching people in opening up that movement or letting go of that control, because sometimes the people are holding, it's these guarding patterns that are actually creating the pain. So learning to let go and to be, that's why so much of this is about human being, stepping out of human doing to be.
I like that. That's right. It's not human doing, it is human being. I love that. I have to write that down. Doing versus human being.
It's hard. It's hard. Change is hard. And it's hard. You have to, when you start on this path, I mean, even the Dalai Lama and, other meditation greats and gurus and teachers will tell you they're still on the path. I mean, Brendan Burchard has, grown himself, and he's very vulnerable and transparent about, well, I'm just a dork and I didn't want to do this today, but I did it. And I showed it's hard, people.
It is. And it's like you said, it's not something that's hard and fast. And, people always talk about, habits and creating habits and things like that. People are like, oh, it takes 21 days. I was like, no, Google it. 66 days to create a habit. But there are so many variables that come along with that.
21 days to start solidifying the habit. This is the long game. This is your life. This is about weaving a gorgeous tapestry.
Yes.
And sometimes the threads get wrong, or sometimes they get a little frayed, but then you can still make a beautiful picture out of it.
That's it.
But there is no quick fix.
No.
There is no quick fix.
No. And to me, it's baby steps. Like you said, I think like you said, it starts with that awareness first, because you have to realize that something is going on before you can search for a solution. Yeah. The solution is not going to just come and knock on the door. Hey, heard you were having pain. Can I help you with that? It doesn't work that way. We have to have that level of awareness, and we have to know thyself, know our bodies, and know that something isn't. I think about it in say you step on a splinter, all of a sudden it's like, ouch, something is going on my foot that I don't normally feel, and then everything starts rushing to that space to say, okay, something's going on here. We need to protect this area. Something's happening. It's that little indicator light that comes on in your body. That's just like the indicator light that comes on your car. It's like, ding, ding. Wait a minute, that light came on. What's that light, and what does it mean? I need to go and find out why that warning signal is happening. Yeah. And we say, it starts there, because if we don't start there, we can't know where we're going if we don't know where we're at, or what's happening where we're at. How now? What's happening right now that's causing this thing, and what can I do about it? So that way I can work on my quality of life. Because especially for me personally, as a Gen Xer, everything is about quality of life. When I wake up, I want everything that I eat to be delicious. I want every experience that I have to be rich, because I'm like, I don't know how many more of these I'm going to have. Right. I want them to be spectacular if I can. How can I make that experience, or how can I make my body feel better? How can I expand? How can I grow? How can I stretch beyond this, so that way when I wake up, it feels good? It's not just about looking good for me. It's about feeling good.
It's about being a happier, healthier human, for creating a better world for yourself, which in turn creates a better world all around you.
I love that. See what I'm saying? A wise way. How about that? A wise way. A wise
Whether
way.
you do it with Wendy or not, get wise. Wise up, y'all, right?
Okay, wise
From
up.
Gen Exhausted to Gen Excellent.
Okay, I love it. Look, she's got tons of them.
Someone's like, oh, you should just, sell
look, I got to pull out my little T-shirt maker, because we need to, these things need to be out there, But it's important. It's not. I think we overcomplicate things.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, because we're trying to, delve so deep into it that, sometimes we got to go, like you said, the basics: mood, meal, mind. How critical is that? And just like you said, just like you have that photo behind you and it's overlapping, it's critical that to show that there's a connection there. It's a connection. It's not them working by themselves. It's them working collectively, because that's what happens. Our body is not scattered all over the floor. We're not just a puddle. We're contained in this body, and all of those pieces are working
together. And they aren't isolated parts, really. I mean, yes, if you break a bone, they're going to fix a bone, but all of the tissue around that and your entire being was affected. And that's something that we also forget to see. Yeah. And doctors will talk about a rotator cuff, but that's 4 muscles and a host of other structures,
right. Right.
So there's a lot of this, how are we thinking about it? And a lot of times where you feel the pain is not the source of the pain.
Right.
Some people's neck pain is coming from imbalances in their hips or their feet, even that far down the chain. So, that curiosity becomes extra important.
Yes.
Especially as we get kind of like closed off and overwhelmed by information. And I'm even guilty. I put too much information in my Simplifying Healthy Happiness. So, you know, it's a little overwhelming to come in, and I'm working at, you know, like really simplifying that. And that's part of what this was, simplifying all of the lessons of wise choices, distilling it down. And that's part of life, right? Is learning what's important. What can we take? What do we take? And what do we leave behind? And what makes us the best we can be to have the best experience we can have of this thing life. How now?
How now? That's right. Absolutely. And I mean, like I said, it doesn't get any better than this, in that, you know, we're taking time to say, okay, I want to be the best version of myself. So you know, it starts with me. It starts with that awareness. It starts with being wise. It starts with you know, mindset. All of these things come into play. And so, you know, if we just take one step, you know, and maybe that's a question for you. What is one step? What can they do today? What can they do right now? If they're talking about, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to what you all are saying. I think that these are some wonderful techniques. What is something I should do? What is something I can do right now?
Breathe. You're doing it, yes, but are you really aware of how you're breathing, of where you're breathing in your body? Are your ribs sticking out? Is your chest compact? Is your chin, you know, there's some checkpoints. Your chin is a good indicator of how your head position is. Is your chin out? Is it on the horizon, right? Your ribs, if your ribs are flaring out, then your back's probably arched. And also, you know, both of these are gonna fix, like, okay, if I'm slouched over, listen to my voice. And how can I take a deep breath? But if I sit up, now I can take a deep breath. So checking your hips, if you're sitting or standing, if you think of your pelvis as a bowl of water, is it spilling out the front or one side or the back? And can you kind of move it around? This is a great exercise for your core and your body being, and awakening that awareness. Is just kind of these subtle, small movements. Like, can I nod yes smaller? Can I nod? Can I play with being a bobblehead? And just playing with these micro movements is a massage for yourself too. But breathing really massages your being from head to toe, because it's uplifting and feeding your cells. And you can play with the breathing and exploring how the tension in your neck and your shoulders affects that. And that will help you become more aware of when you're doing it at your desk or in your car or walking down the street or standing in line, or these different places, these moments in between where you can tune in. And the more you tune in, the more awareness you have of these unhelpful patterns. And then, you know, that's the first step in change, is the awareness unlocks the door. And then it just starts doing this, and you feed the information in. You can kind of squeeze and release and shake it out. Like I said before, bouncing is so good for lymphatic drainage.
Yes, you're right.
And it feels good, and it's fun too.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And if you don't like these things, you can start doing it in the bathroom where nobody can see you, or behind closed doors. You know, I know you sing in the car when you think nobody's looking, because I saw you driving down the highway, right?
My album comes out in fall. No.
I heard you singing in the shower when I was walking the dog the other day. So let it out. Have fun. Stop stifling your inner child. Enjoy life respectfully, with care for self and others.
Yes. Yes. I love that you say breathing, because just like you said, it is critical. Sometimes you don't even realize how shallow your breathing is until you're asked to take a deep breath. Then you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that I can breathe. Like, I mean, my lungs can expand like that. Some of us don't realize how shallow our breathing is.
You open out to the side, really fill the bear. There are so many breathing exercises. Look it up on Go Ogle It. That's one of my favorite things. Go Ogle It. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There's lots of free, wonderful. There's an app I use. It's Medito Foundation, Medito. That's a free, ad-free app for mindfulness. It has music. It has breathing exercises. It has, you know, some stories. I use it if stress wakes me up in the middle of the night, there's some that are getting back to sleep if you wake up in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And I will play them and it helps me get back to sleep. And it's free and it's ad free, and you can access it online at meditofoundation.org also.
Okay.
If you don't want to download the app. So this is very important because most people are like, I can't meditate. I don't have 10 minutes. This has 3-minute options. You can just listen to a minute. You can just look at it and it brings your attention to breathing. You can think about, oh, they mentioned that thing. And you know what? Even if you never go look at it, we just planted that seed and opened up a little bit of blossoming.
That's right.
In your breathing, being.
Yeah. That's how it starts. That's right. Because what did she say? She said that we are not human doings, we are human beings.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
So breathing helps us be more in me in the moment, because we silly humans overcomplicating things because we're all in our head. We're all busy trying to connect. We're so disconnected trying to connect.
Right. You're absolutely right. It's so important for us to connect with ourselves, you know? That's the biggest connection, the connection with ourselves. And just like you said, in our desire to try to connect with others, we forget to connect with ourselves. It all begins from within, you know? And once we get that, in tune, and once we get that aligned, then it makes the experience and the connections with others so much more meaningful. Yeah. So
so just practice the 3 keys. Key number 1 was breathe, smile, and enjoy. You know, you can take your time with each of those and really indulge, like a delicious chocolate cake, souffle, whatever it is that brings you joy, you know. Or you can see, can I do them all at once in that moment? Boom.
Yeah. And that's
so simple, but there's so much diversity and richness in the explorations available.
Yes. All we have to do is take that step to do it. Yeah.
Remember to remember when you remember to remember.
That's
and
right.
Thankfully, we can set notifications on our dumb devices to help remind us. We can put words on there like, you are awesome, you're doing great, or whatever we want. You know, it doesn't have to be this. I turn off all the notifications from everything except the ones that I want to read.
Right.
So what is the input that we're feeding into our being?
Yes, right.
That is provoking our doing.
That's right.
You know, tune in.
Tune in. Oh my goodness. Well, darling, you know, we can talk all day long about this, but I think that, you know, like I said, we've started to peel those layers back, and hopefully the information that you've shared with us is going to be something that is going to spark that curiosity and to get people in motion, to get people to say, okay, yeah, I need to start checking in with myself and seeing where I'm at so that I know where I'm going.
See what I need. What do I need now? Right now, what would serve me? Is it this? Is this what I need, or do I need this, or do I need this?
Do I need this?
Yeah.
Some hydration. These are, you know, it's the summer months. It's getting hot. What is it that we need? What is it that we need? Absolutely. So, darling, before we go, please, Wendy, tell people how they can get in contact with you if they want to know more about the Wise Way and want to know how they can connect with you and, start on that path for wellness, for happiness.
You're invited. Come to healthierhumans.com. Yes? healthierhumans.com.
Okay.
And right now it just redirects directly into the circle community at tamingyourtension.com. And there will be a website and gateway going up there as I put it back together again. But there is an incredible resource available ungated for you to see for free. Anybody is welcome to come look at the top tension taming tips, to catch the replays of my daily 179 days now at the time of this recording. And if you add your email, log in with the circle membership email or sign up with your email, you'll get the weekly digest and you'll be able to message me and get event notifications. But anybody can come check it out.
That's it. That's
Yes.
it. I love it.
And
I
then you'll be
love it.
motivated to join us inside.
That's
Yes.
right.
But
That's right.
if you feel like that is too much for you, always speak to me. Don't disqualify yourself. If you want to be a part of it, talk to me. There's something we can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So that's www.happierhumans.com. Okay. All right. Now that was the wise way. Kneel, mind, and move. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. Now, one other question that I always ask all of my guests before we go is how are you living in this now? How are you navigating in this space? What is something that you do to live in this now?
Vitamin G. I spend time barefoot outside multiple times a day. I am wearing grounded sandals right now. I have an earthing mat for grounding right here, and that I sleep on a grounded mat, and that is like one of the top things. Vitamin G, nature nurtures. Without it, I start to get the crazies. You got to get out, get that. And plus, the sky and nature is a very profound reminder that this too shall pass.
Yes, yes, I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. That's it. Okay, guys, vitamin G. And I'm sitting there like, oh wow, that's a new one. I haven't heard of that. Okay, you learned something. I was today years old learning about vitamin G. Okay, and some of y'all out there today years old too. So welcome to the world. Welcome. Okay, but thank you so much, Wendy, for coming and being a part of this wonderful discussion. That's like for opening this lovely why.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. And know that you are a part of the How Now family. You're always welcome to come back because what's happening right now may not be what's happening 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years from now. So you can always come back and let us know what's going on with your taming the attention, with your projects that are coming up. We're always willing to have you come back and talk about that and talk about what's happening in your now. Any final words that you'd like to leave with our listeners before we go?
I just really enjoyed this. I thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I appreciate being here, and I had a lot of fun. And the more joy we can bring into the world and spread, the better off we all are. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, people, and that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until we see you the next time, I say peace.